Bible Books Explained, part 52 of 66. Today we're talking about the book of Ezra. Ezra the scribe wrote this roughly 450 BC, and this was to speak on the return from exile, where God restored the people of Israel and the temple was rebuilt. And let this serve as a reminder to any of you all who are listening, waiting for God to restore you, that restoration is not only possible, but God gets glory from restoration. Chapters 1 and 2 deal with the details of how that restoration began. And there's a deep spiritual truth between chapter 1, 2, and 3. This took place due to leadership at a high level, King Cyrus giving the okay for this to take place. Then there was movement. But I believe concerning this, it took place through prayer in the heavenly spaces. And then from there, from King Cyrus to movement. And then chapter 3 details the beginning process of rebuilding, which started with the altar, then the building of the temple itself. Chapter 4 is where things get a little contentious. In chapter 4, there is direct opposition to the rebuilding, so much so that the opposition was able to stop the work of the rebuild for 16 years. But then comes chapter 5. The words of the prophets Haggai and Zechariah began to circulate, and then there was action. But the eye of their God was on the elders of the Jews. They did not stop them until the report should reach Darius, and then an answer be returned by letter concerning it. So they went to King Darius, and that is when things began to shift. And based off of the decree, again, started with prayer, then movement, and then they continued on with rebuilding, so much so that the rebuilding of the temple was completed. Chapter 7, Ezra takes a more active role rather than just serving as a scribe, but actively serves as a teacher and rebuilds the people so that the people can occupy and steward well what has been rebuilt in the physical space. Chapter 8, they had to take a journey, and this is where Ezra implored the Lord to protect them, and rather than rely on military convoy, they relied on prayer and fasting to keep the enemies at bay. Chapter 9 was fine-tuning marriage, as there was a lot of intermarrying with pagan nations. And then chapter 10 is the conclusion of the book of Ezra. I encourage you all to read it, as Ezra and Nehemiah were actually one book at one point in time. Amen.